dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without their dragon is dead. Welcome to the Fourth Wing.
Welcome to chapter 21 of the Smut Daddy podcast.
Hi,
Hello,
guys.
everybody. Or should I say, welcome to the Fourth Wing. I am your wing leader today, Father Lib, which means you all need to get your shit in line because it's time for a recap. And my squad leader here, Sister Britt. I
was like, am I going to be a scribe? What am I going to be? Am I healer?
You're my squad leader. Sister Britt is with me, and we are about to take you guys on quite a little recap journey because if you don't know, Fourth Wing is sort of in our blood, my blood specifically. But
For
we
sure,
have
Father Lib Squad.
We have for our visual watchers our lightning bolt.
It's up there.
Collarbone tattoos because we love some Violet Sorengale. So I will probably be taking over most of this because I'm literally addicted.
Not probably. She will be.
You guys might also notice I have about 12 different versions of Fourth Wing behind me because I don't know what it is about it, but it is up there with Throne of Glass for anyone that's wondering where it falls on my ranking scale. She is right on up there. So we are honestly just going to dive on in. So obviously, if you guys haven't read Fourth Wing or haven't read Iron Flame, this is literally every spoiler under the sun. But I think it really will be a good recap to get everyone ready for...
I am looking forward to it.
For tomorrow's release.
I'm that reader that's only read it once.
That's okay. So. I have read Fourth Wing probably 15 times now, but I've only read Iron Flame 3 times. I am ready. I feel prepared. Like, I feel like this was my destiny, was to come here and lead us all into what is Fourth Wing. So for those that's ready for the recap and everything, obviously Violet Sorengale, she is our leading lady, and she has been trained her whole life by her father, who is unnamed, and that is fucking sus. I'm looking at USJM.
That day was hilarious.
I literally was in the DMs with Britt and our friend Lynn, and I was like, wait a goddamn minute. It took me 15 rereads to realize they just say your dad or Mr. Sorengale. What the actual fuckery is that? And I'm on high alert because we all know what happens when someone's not named. It's very iconic and eye-opening. So I'm honestly stressed out about it, which leads into a lot of theories I have. But he has been training her whole life to be a scribe for Basgiath War College. But we learn very quickly, literally right off the get-go, that her mom, Lilith Sorengale, no daughter of hers will be a scribe or a healer.
Nothing wrong with those, let me just say.
Yes, honestly, I would probably want to...
fun as exciting,
right?
But still nothing wrong.
We all think we want to be a writer, but we all know we'd probably die on the fucking gauntlet or the parapet. But Lilith Sorengale, she's a real piece of work in Fourth Wing.
She's a see you next Tuesday in Fourth Wing.
Yes, she really is. Her exact words were, you will die in Basgiath, or you will come out a rider. She does have a badass older sister, Mira. She is quite the little badass. She's like top of her ranks now that she's out of school and everything. And she says that Violet is too weak. She's too weak. She is not good enough to be a rider. And that's literally chapter 1. Like everyone fighting, Violet finding out that after 20 years of preparing to be literally the best scribe that's ever walked the earth, that she is going to go walk the fucking parapet, which in my mind, I think of like, what is that game? The game show.
Yes.
With like the
Wipeout?
big Wipeout. Like in my mind, like
but
the
it also
gauntlet.
makes me think of, like, the challenge on MTV.
Yes, or like Ninja Warrior, like shit like that is what goes on in my head. And
what
then,
was that one when we were growing up? The hidden temple one?
Oh, yes, that kids show. But it was so good. I just love her, honestly. Like right away, I feel like you either love her or you think she's annoying because of just the type of person she is. But because she's been training her whole life to be a scribe, the things that calm her down, like while she's on this parapet trying to get across, is she quotes knowledge. She just quotes what she's read in her books and her studies. But that would be me, but like with Smut. I'd be like, the invitation is Hudson Rothschild. Like, it would just be all my favorite books while I'm trying to get across. We meet every character rather quickly. I forgot, honestly, how quickly everyone comes into play. So we meet Ree, who ends up being her best friend because they switch boots, one shoe each, so that they do not fall. We meet Xaden Ryerson, who has been warned to stay away from him, as he is the child that led the rebellion. We meet Jack fucking Barlow,
That douchebag.
a dumbass, like a dumbass that has a dumb allergy. Me, allergic to lavender, but he's allergic to fucking oranges. We meet Riddick and his very fucking smart mouth and all of his hilarious jokes. Like, I honestly forgot how quickly these characters come into play. We learn immediately that Jack wants Violet dead, and that is one of the main storyline of Violet. Like, her main enemy in book 1 is not only the children of the rebellion, but it is Jack Barlow. So then we cross the parapet, though, and we meet the dumbest man of them all. Trash can Dane Atos. Holy shitballs,
Fucking
folks.
awful.
I forgot, like, how annoying he is, but you only pick up on it when you reread because you know more about him and what happens.
Yes.
So obviously
Hindsight's
this is
20/20.
yes. So obviously things are going to be a little out of order while we go through, but you realize on your reread rather quickly how many times he touches her face or her shoulders, and then when you learn later on that he can read your recent memories, it really fucking grinds my gears that
Yes.
she's like, but he's done it since I was a child. Girl, you are so stupid to learn that he can read your recent memories and you still think he's never done it to you?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like
I
that?
thought I saw a theory too about someone out there saying that they thought he could do it even when he wasn't physically touching.
That's what I think too. I wonder if it's just heightened. Like, you literally cannot stop him if he's
like it
touching
can go
you.
further deeper into the past if he's
Yes.
touching you, whereas if he's just in your close vicinity, is that like short term?
But she crosses, we get through, and you realize that she is weak, folks, and not in the mental, but she is brittle. All of her bones and ligaments and joints break and pop out very easily. She gets hurt really easily. When someone else would get a bruise, she gets like a broken leg or a broken arm or her shoulder dislocated, and Dane is trying to help her though when she gets across so that she can recover without everyone realizing that she's injured, which it is such a good job of, like, you love him. Like, he is almost a Tamlin. You're like, she loves him. They've been best friends for forever.
They're
like,
besties. They're good.
It's such a good,
She's
like,
got an ally with her.
yes,
You know, it's great.
Mira said, like, find Dane. Like, if you stick with Dane, you're good because he's a second year. But damn, that all backfired so quickly.
Unravels real quick.
Real fucking quick. And so all of the first like bit of Fourth Wing is us just learning more about how the school system works, like how Basgayath War College works. You get separated into different wings and different sections. She ends up with Xaden Ryerson as her wing leader, which I love him in the first book, like there until the end. He's so great. I love that he always knows more obviously than what he's leading on, but they're learning how to fight. They are learning different classes. It's a lot of information thrown at you in the beginning, but I feel like Rebecca did a really good job of not making it complicated, even
Do you
though
know what it kind of
is.
made me think of as I was reading it? Kingmakers, a little
Yes.
bit like being on
You
the
just-
island, being in their own like world,
Their own
essentially.
world. You're just learning. I love that we're going through it with Violet. Like, what Violet knows, we know. And because she's so smart, Rebecca does a really good job of putting her scribe knowledge into the world so that we can have missing pieces when we maybe
And
wouldn't
does she
have
her,
them.
the book yet or not yet? Am I jumping ahead?
Yeah, so all of these things leading to what is going to be called Threshing, which is where you parade around in front of the dragons after completing the gauntlet. And that is so they can look at you and the dragons can decide if they want to bond you. So when we're doing all these fights and stuff leading up to it, I think it's fairly quickly. She goes to bed one night and she reaches under her pillow and she realizes there's a book there, and this is called the Book of Brennan, and it is left by her older sister, which was given to her by their older brother Brennan, and it is everything that he could get his hands on information-wise of how you can survive Basgaeth. He knows all the ways that the teachers think, where they post things, how the challenges work. Everything that you could possibly need to survive is in this book, and they've been adding notes in as they each had it. And so now, with Violet being the youngest, it has ended up in her hands. And that is how she wins 10 weeks worth of challenges, is because being a scribe and having this information of knowing who you're going to be fighting and who they're picking, she just starts poisoning bitches literally left and right, because you have to sign up for special duties to help around the school. So she takes the very, very early morning shift of breakfast duty that no one wants to do, because she knows that she can poison her opponents now that she knows where to find who they'll be. And then she can poison them with all of her knowledge because she serves them breakfast, which is honestly fucking genius. She is so smart. And sometimes she gets the dosages a little wrong and things are delayed and she ends up more hurt.
It's all right. Trial and error, it's fine.
She is honestly so fucking smart for it. I love the way her brain works. I love that she never takes people saying like, oh, you're such a scribe in a negative way. She loves that people call her that, because she is the mind of a scribe
thing to be described as. She's like, okay, I'm proud of that. She's like,
yeah, I have the mind of a scribe, but the heart of a writer. And that, I think, is huge and plays into all of it when it comes to Threshing. And she sees a very rare, teeny tiny little gold dragon, and they've never seen one that little before, because feather tails do not bond with riders. They do not come to Threshing. They do not bond. You never see them anymore. And because they don't bond and they don't see them, Jack Barlow and his little dumbass friends decide, hey, we are going to kill that dragon because she is a disgrace. And Violet's like, no one is going to kill her. I am her. You know what I mean? Like, we're both weak. We're both underestimated. So doesn't have what it takes normally to beat Jack Barlow, let alone him and his goonies. She goes to bat for that little golden dragon, and it pays off huge. Like,
yes, it does.
In the best way that has ever been, because not only does she scare them off to running away, but because she stood up and had the courage when she was the weakest. The biggest dragon that's ever existed besides the general's dragon, General Mildred's dragon, he comes down and says like, no, you don't get to touch that dragon. You don't get to do anything about her. You don't get to decide what dragons live and dies, because dragons have all the power in this world. No matter what these humans think, the Empyrean, which is the dragons, they are the ones in charge here, folks. The humans like to think they're in charge, but they are not. It comes time to accepting her dragons, and Tran, and I know I'm probably saying those names wrong, but we're going to keep it moving forward. Her dragon, Ternanok, is his full name, because you get the dragon's full name when you bond with them.
You said that really great, so I just shortened it to Tern.
Tern. I don't know why what is wrong with my voice? Ternanok. Maybe that's my German influence coming through with some of these words, but he says, hello, you are mind. The mind power of them being able to speak to each other without words, that comes into play. He does around her like little flight. She accidentally falls off because she can never keep her seat, but unlike every other dragon that if your rider falls off they let them drop, he catches her. And that is a huge moment where I think we learn, okay,
and that's when I fell in love with Tern.
Literally, I was like, he caught her. And newsflags, folks, he catches her a lot. There are a lot of times that this girl literally cannot sit on her seat. So she goes to tell everybody after all of their flight and their show, you have to report your dragon's real name. Only the scribes know the dragon's full names, because that's how they know if you were actually accepted and the bond is complete between rider and dragon. And when she goes up to tell that dumb bitch scribe that Dane sleeps with, I can't remember her name because she doesn't fucking matter, but
she matters.
Literally, that's how little she matters. And newsflash, she's fucking dead in the future. But she goes up and says, I'm bonded with Ternanok. And that's when we hear Andarna's voice for the first time. And she says, I don't know her full name, but she says, Andarna. And she's like, excuse me, what?
Sorry, say that again.
You're sorry. I think she does. She like turns around and she's like, excuse me, what? And you're like never supposed to question dragons, even if you're bonded with them. And Tyrn is yelling at her, like, say her name. Like, say her name. And so she turns around and says, and Andarna, and all fucking hell breaks loose. And that is how that chapter ends, is all hell breaking loose. And that's where all of these politics really start coming into play. I would say it's at that moment where you really start learning about what the humans think their politics are, but what the dragons say their politics are. And dragon's word is last. It does not matter. So they all meet, the dragons all meet, and she is allowed to have both dragons. And she is the first person in all of literally this world's history to be bonded with 2 dragons, which is fucking crazy and just
So
badass.
badass.
I never saw it going in, like reading my first time. I just was like, wow, dragons are cool enough. And when I think of their bond, I think of like Avatar, where you like take their tail and their hair and like meet them up, even though that doesn't happen. But you know what I mean? I'm like, that's the kind of bond they have. So then to have like 2 Avatar dragons, I'm like, holy shit, this girl is awesome.
I was like, the first second you read about Tyrn in like a class, I was like, oh, that's gonna be her dragon. But then the Andarna thing, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be her dragon because they're both small and weak and people underestimate them. So then I was just like, I did not comprehend or think that she could have 2.
I was just like, wow. So all hell breaks loose, but she's bonded to both of them, and then starts the new journey of now you get accepted into more classes because you have your dragon, but those classes are to prep you for when you're going to get your signet. Your signet is the power that is solely dedicated to you once you have a bonded dragon, and no one knows what it will be. It solely is manifest based off of the human. And I think that's something that I kind of missed my first couple times reading through, is people think that just because you have like the biggest dragon in the whole world that you could have the best signet, and signet as in power, like what type of magical adaptation power you can have. But I think I didn't realize that even Tyrn says, like, this comes from the type of soul you have. What your power manifests from is who the type of person you are. Violet's very late to the game. Go figure. Her signet does not want to manifest. And everyone around is getting pissed the fuck off that it won't manifest. 1, because you have to have a signet to keep going and keep learning. And 2, the longer your signet take to portray, the more likely you're going to face burnout, which is where your power just completely takes you over and you literally burst into flames because the amount of power soaring through you cannot comprehend. One little part I missed while doing this. So we're doing all our dragons, we're bonding, and then she learns that her like other number 1 enemy, that's Xaden, that she's supposed to stay away from. His dragon Sigale is mates, like lifelong mates with Tyrn. And that poses a little bit of a threat to our girl Violet. And she's supposed to stay away from him because he's the child of the rebellion leader and he has the relic tattoo, which anyone from the rebellion, they are marked. And because their dragons are mates, they have to be together all the fucking time because they're mates. He has an invested interest in keeping her alive, though, now, because their life forces are tied together. Because if you die, your dragon can die. And if your dragon dies, no matter what, you are dead. Which means all these people that want Violet dead is really bad for Xaden, because he's like, what the fuck? You've ruined everything ever. And Sigale's a little feisty piece of work.
Yeah, she
It's
is.
little blue dragon. She's not little,
Not
but
little.
she's
a big girl.
Sassy.
She's
is.
I
So
love her.
sassy, and she fucking hates Violet in the first book. Like, that's what I got through my reread, is she hates Violet. She's pissed that they're all tied together.
In Sigale's defense, I would be a little nervous for my own self-preservation.
Right. I mean, I'm not even ever really mad at her. You're just
No, me neither.
You're just like, damn, she's so feisty and so like snippy. Like, she's like, get the fuck away from him, you know, like, don't talk to me. I love she's always like eye rolling and like side eyeing Violet, like, this dumb bitch over here.
But eventually they like form like a
Yes, when I got to
sweet
Iron
little
Flame, I kind of
relationship
forgot that
bond,
they,
yeah.
So the biggest problem, I mean, that Violet is facing with this dragon now is that she cannot keep her seat. And it is a problem because you're supposed to be able to keep your seat. You're supposed to be able to ride on your dragon into battle. Like, that's what all this college is leading up to, is to go to the front line so that you can participate in the actual war that is happening. So, I mean, obviously it's a recap, but we all know a bunch of stuff happens. They're all learning, like they're all freaking out. It comes time to one of the war games. She is on Tyrn. She has Jack Barlow, though, behind her on his orange dragon. And you learn rather quickly that people with orange dragons are fucking stupid ass bitches. That's what I've learned.
Because orange is a stupid color.
I don't know what it is, but isn't it funny that he has an orange dragon and he's allergic to oranges? Like, I just thought that was ironic. Like, I know they have nothing to do together, but like, it's just weird that he is. But everyone that has an orange dragon fucking sucks. But one of the war games, he decides that this is his chance to take out Violet, because you are allowed to kill other cadets at the school, just not in the sparring ring and not when you're in any type of formation. But like when the games and the way that these like classes are taking place out in the field, it's open season. It's fair game. So he's coming after her. She can barely stay in her fucking seat. She has no signet until she gets so fucking pissed off that she finds out that her signet is she can wield lightning. And I think that's one of my favorite lines, because I've always dubbed them.
So cool.
I do them in audio, and I just love the way Tyrn says lightning wielder. Like I get chills. I'm like, gosh. So a very powerful signet. She has a really fucking cool tattoo where your like bond and your signet comes from, like that helps. And hers is Tyrn on her back in a full black dragon tattoo with a little golden dragon on top of him for Andarna. I just thought that was like really cool. I love
on the back of my sweatshirt right
yes!
now. I love it.
We're both wearing our Basgaeth crew today. But lightning wielder, incredible. Of course, she doesn't know how to control it. It's always like she gets somewhere and then she takes like 10 steps back. She doesn't know how to wield it, takes a bunch of time, never really has control over it until the end of Iron Flame, as most of us have come to find out doing these.
Question the professor that was like trying to train her.
Right? Like, it drives me crazy.
Does he have good intentions? Is he trying to help her?
No.
Like,
So all of this is going on while there's also Xaden and all the marked ones. And Violet starts learning that very slowly, like that they do things to break the rules that have been set up just to punish them for being children of the rebellion. But she's always seeing it as they're never doing any harm. That's the thing. Is she keeps all of their secrets because they are never doing any harm. They're just like meeting up, trying to teach each other, make sure each other stays alive, like all of these things. And it's a real enemies to lovers here. Like they hate each other. They are pissed as fuck at each other, even though there's that lust there because like he's hot, she's hot. I mean, what are you going to do about it? All of this, which leads to one of the biggest war game challenges that is supposed to happen. So when they go to this outpost that is beyond the ward, as it's called. Think of like when they're in Harry Potter and they all like put their wands up to the sky to like make that magical dome.
The magical dome over Hogwarts.
Yes. There is like a magical ward around Basgaeth and some of its land to protect everyone, but this outpost is outside of that. And when they get there, they realize that the outpost is abandoned, which is super weird. Like it's not supposed
this is wrong.
It's not supposed to be. They're supposed to be in these war games. And like obviously I've jumped around, but we're just trying to stick to the main points here, folks. So Violet and Xaden are making out on a tree when they're supposed to be figuring out what the fuck is going on and why this outpost is abandoned. And when I finally understand what this whole like traitor that they're fighting is, I didn't really understand when reading it the first couple times until you get to the end. But there are Griffins and Griffin riders, and they are portrayed to be the enemy. People that want to take Basgaeth's wards down. They want all of their knowledge. They want their magic. One of these Griffin riders, one of their leaders, wing leaders, walks up on them. And it was in that literal moment that I learned I was played the first time through. It literally took me up until then when he says, "You have to trust me." And it was in that moment where my spidey senses went up and said, "Excuse me, what?" What do you mean I have to trust you? Newsflash, which we all know, and Violet says it so poetically, but so bluntly that what a cliche that Xaden Ryerson is actually part of the rebellion, and he is just a cliche trying to be at this school acting like he isn't, but when he is in fact working against everyone, just like his dad and everyone was. It hurt my heart, let me tell you, folks. Yeah. I thought I wouldn't recover. I felt so blindsided. Like, I felt worse than when anything. Like, I didn't fall for Tamlin or anything, but I fell for fucking Xaden and all of his charm and his wit and his fucking shadows for him to be a traitor. And not just him. Every single one of her friends, like her shadows. Liam is her shadow. And that is one of Xaden's adoptive brothers. They grew up together. Everyone betrayed her. They all knew, and they were all partaking in this new rebellion. And everyone literally knew besides Violet. And I mean literally everyone that had a marked one. But that's who she was always around because Xaden had a vested interest in keeping her alive. And that one fucking hurt. I just can't even describe it. That one hurt. You learn that he has been handing them and smuggling out of Basgiath these special daggers with this type of gem in the hilt that are infused with the magic that has the wards, because there is a real enemy that the whole school is lying about. And at first Violet says, "You're so stupid. You're so dumb. This is fables." Like, we grew up reading these fables about magical creatures that are evil, which I always giggled at because you live amongst magic and you're telling me that you never once thought that these fables that everyone was telling you in these storybooks were real when you have magic. But you learn that the real enemy here is Venin, and they have wyvern, which are different than dragons and different than griffins, and they are siphoning the magic from all the lands, and that is actually who this war is with, and not what all of these teachers and everyone has been taught as they're growing up. She does not believe them at first until they're there and they become under attack, which leads to some terrible heartbreak. Reading about Liam dying with pregnancy hormones, I literally threw up. I was crying so hard.
Say, not good.
I can't believe it, especially because you think they're best friends. She literally just learned they were all betrayed. One of the last words she ever said to him before he is hurt and dying was any of it real? Were you ever my friend? And he's like, yes, of course I was. But she didn't believe that. He then steps in to save her life when one of these Venins is coming for her. She's sobbing. I'm sobbing. I'm in the book on the war battle. He says it's been his honor being her shadow and protecting her. And
4 words. 4 blinks, 4 words.
Jesus Christ. And that all goes down. While this giant battle is ensuing, Violet gets stabbed with a poisonous dagger by one of these Venins. And she learns that these Venins have leaders that are called Sage, and they want her. They say that she is a commander of the sky. They say that he wants her for her teaching. And I always thought that was so interesting that it did always come down to her. But because she gets stabbed by one of these poisonous daggers, she's dying. She's dying real quick. Everyone's freaking the fuck out because they don't know what that means for her dragons. They don't know what that means for Xaden and Zagael. I know I'm skipping around a lot, but she's also just worried because in order to try to even save Liam, she slowed time down with Andarna because that was Andarna's magical power that she has since lost since then. And everything's honestly just a big old fucking shit show. Yep. It's crazy.
It's a clusterfuck.
And Xaden says that they have no choice but to go to this place that because he knows that whoever is there will can heal her because Basgiath is too far away and she is dying. Her blood is turning black. She's having spider veins that are black coming out of her. And so he flies her to an undisclosed location that we don't know about right away. And then it flashes forward to she's there, she gets healed, and when she wakes up, she learns that she is in Xaden's old town that had gotten burned to the ground. But because he and the marked ones have these markings, these relics, he had always said that it was a gift and not a punishment. And it's because when 3 or more people with the relics are together, you cannot see what they are doing, because the reason that the general is because he can see the outcomes of battles and what things people are doing, but he cannot see what the marked ones are doing when they are in groups of more than 3. And they had been rebuilding his city and his palace and all of these things, and that is like their rebellion hideout, because they always have more than 3 marked ones there, so no one knows it exists. No one goes there, no one flies there, so they are well underway into this rebellion. But there's a banging on the door when she wakes up. She's pissed at Xaden, obviously, because he lied to her and betrayed her. And the motherfucking door opens, and I shit you not, the last thing you see is who you think is dead for the past 6 years. Her fucking brother walked through the door. I was shook.
I was so shocked. I was like, what the actual fuck?
When Britton walks in and is like, welcome to the rebellion, and that's how the book ends, I was shocked, folks. I don't know why I didn't see it coming. And so I was like, okay, like my whole mind was going through a loop. I closed the book and immediately restarted it because I was stressed the fuck out. But that is how book 1 ends. Iron Flame is a lot of information. This is going to be a way less in depth, because I feel like you really need to grasp Fourth Wing to understand the politics and stuff. But then Iron Flame is just a bunch of information, because she's 1, learning about the rebellion, and 2, they are just learning more about the world around them, because now they're second years. So Iron Flame is, she wakes up, they're in this town. She is pissed at her brother because he abandoned them and everyone thought he was dead for 6 years when they thought he was dead. And who we think is his lover, but is for sure his best friend, Naolin. It's because he tried to siphon magic into him to bring him back to life. He burned out, and they thought that Brennan did not survive that as well. Newsflash, he fucking did. He's been hiding out in this town. He's worked his way up to lieutenant in this little rebellion ranks. And they've been on the hunt for knowledge to figure out how they can defeat these Venin and Wyvern, because like that is the enemy. They are learning, and Violet's learning very quickly, that all of Basgiath is lying to them, including her mom. Everyone knows that the Venin are real, besides like the cadets. Like the only people that, well, and I guess the front line like warriors like Mira, but they think that they're fighting all like different dragons and griffins and people that are just still rebellion, but they're not. And I think that that's kind of crazy that even Mira didn't know, because she is on the front lines, but she doesn't, because one of my favorite parts is where she finds out Brennan is alive and she literally punches him in the face so hard his nose breaks.
Speaking of Mira, can I say one of my favorite things that she did was gift Violet her dragon vest thing?
One of the main reasons, honestly, that Violet is alive is Mira and her dragon, Tiny. She had Tiny like shed, or when her dragon sheds during molting season, she collected all the feathers, and then one of her friends has a signet that can make small things big, she says, which she said comes in handy in a very sexual, suggestive way, which is hilarious. But also it can make big things tiny. So she put all of his molting feathers together into a vest, and you cannot penetrate a dragon's feathers. So she wears that all the time. You're always hearing like, keep your vest on, where's your vest? And that's because it's the only thing half the time that keeps her alive. Iron Flame is just crazy. It's still a great book, but it definitely, I would say, is like maybe 0.5 down for me, just because it is so much information because of everything that's going on.
Sometimes I was like, I think I'm reading words.
Yes. I feel like things don't really start picking up until about halfway through. So Ree becomes squad leader, which is good because that's like Violet's best friend and they all have their little crew. Dane Atos becomes their wing leader. And a lot of this is Xaden and Violet miscommunicating and them figuring out how they can be together.
Miscommunication.
This one's rough, but I am on Team Violet. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, what? But I am. Because we just went from her hiding all of his secrets in the first book. And a big part I forgot to say, sorry, we're just jumping all over the place trying to get the information out, is the reason why this rebellion got found out is because Dane touched her face and read her last memories, but she did not know that was happening when it did. She because the information in her brain was Xaden went to an outpost that he wasn't supposed to be at, and Dane told his dad that. And so that all came down to everyone fighting, him sending people there, like he was trying to get them killed. I am on Team Violet because we just learned all of that information. Xaden literally didn't help her out at all. He knew the whole time what Dane's signet was. He could have prepped her at any time to keep her shields up, because that's a big part of Iron Flame is shield, like keep your shield up, be grounded, like don't let people in. And if he would have told her that, then she could have been more prepared to keep him out, but he did not. So then everyone lied to her. Then she had to go into battle. Then Liam died. Then she got stabbed. Then she learned her brother was alive after 6 years. And then everyone expects the fucking 20-year-old girl to not be pissed. Take a fucking step back, folks. We all were 20 once, okay? We were all 20 once. We all run on emotions. And if all of our best friends betrayed us and our boyfriend, guess what? We'd all be just as pissed. That's where I get caught up on the miscommunication.
I know, but then she goes back and is lying to Ree and keeping secrets from her. So
Xaden, but that's because of Xaden.
Right, but she's doing it as well because she understands why she needs to.
And she does
herself.
say that she knows that, but I do think that when everyone around you fucks up, it should be on them to step up to the plate a little more, to like be like, hey, I'm here. I want your trust back. He says he'll do anything for his trust back. And then the next thing out of his mouth is like, ask me a question. Listen, bro, we're about to fight. So a lot happens in Iron Flame. Like, honestly, I've read it 3 times now and I feel like I'm still missing out on stuff like in the beginning half, but the ending, I have all the information, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're all training, everything is happening and being fucking crazy. Second year shit is intense. There's a lot of things that are kept very well hidden from first years because that's the whole point, is they want them unprepared when they get to their second year. And a big part of that is torture and interrogation.
Yeah. That was rough.
Even Brennan hides it and he doesn't really mention it in his book. Like, and I understand it's a big part for if you get captured like by the enemies, and it's obviously a huge part of Violet's story, but I was kind of shocked that like even Brennan and Mira didn't mention, like, by the way, you're at multiple times going to be kidnapped from hallways in your sleep, like just to be fucked with and tortured and like war games. Every fucking time someone hands Violet something to drink, she drinks it. What is up with that? That is like a huge pet peeve of mine with my girl, and she's my girl. I will ride for her. But every time she takes a drink of something that someone hands her, and then she's like, that has a funny aftertaste. Girl, no shit, it has a funny aftertaste.
It sure does.
You're constantly being poisoned and magic is being done on you via these goddamn drinks, so that they're cut off from their dragons and communication. You learn more and more, like at the end of Fourth Wing and in Iron Flame, that because Zigel and Tern are mates, that also Violet and Xaden can talk via mind communication, though I do have my fucking spidey senses go off on that, because you start learning like, okay, he has all these shadows that he wields, blah blah blah. I'm skipping around a bunch to get to some theories, but when we finally learn towards the end that he has a second signet, okay, and we'll go back, but when you realize that he has a second signet and he says that he's an intensic, a type of intensic, he can read people's minds and he has to keep it quiet because that is a signet that they kill immediately because they say that their
Which
thoughts...
we witnessed earlier.
Oh, yes.
Happens, so.
I wonder, though, if that has something more to do with why they're communicating via mind than just them having dragons that are mates.
The bond between
you know
the
what
dragons.
I mean?
Yeah.
Because he can read her mind this whole fucking time, which pisses me the fuck off. Pisses me off, folks, because he like just could have warned her about literally anything. He could just take her 10 seconds to give her any type of information. Because it all comes down to, everyone's like, but he had to. But then like for him to just open his mouth and say what it is, like we could have done that in chapter 5. Like we literally could have had that covered in chapter 5. But I wonder if that's why. Like they can communicate via mind. I wonder if they're playing off each other's signets somehow.
And like her second one?
Yes, a big theory and everyone's wondering is will Andarna manifest a second signet for Violet? Rebecca Yarrow says that it has been put in the book. The only thing I have found that says a truth slayer is the worst one after intrinsic. They just said like the most powerful thing after an intrinsic is a truth slayer. And she needs information. Like the whole time she's saying like, I need information and knowledge or it makes like my mind go crazy. And so I'm just like, is it because you're trying to figure out the truth? Like, is that it? Is that like a different type of intrinsic? You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if that's why they're playing off of each other. So they're starting to learn more information in Iron Flame, backing it up. They are doing these crazy ass war games. They're flying back and forth on these different leaves because Zagael and Taryn have never been away from each other and they can only be away from each other for so long. The new people in charge are really pissed off that one, they're alive. The general's just pissed that they're alive and survived. And it comes to fruition very quickly that he is trying to get Violet and these marked ones in trouble who were at this outpost when they were supposed to die. He wants them dead. He wants them dead because they know the truth that there is Venom and Wyvern and everything being, but like he just can't flat out kill them. So he puts in all of these like safeguards for himself, like you guys can only be with each other 2 days every 14 days, and their dragons are pissed at that, and it's honestly just a fucking shit show. But with all of that going on, they are still trying to learn information. It's coming down to the fact that they just don't have enough information of how they can keep like everyone safe, but also how they can get a new shield up at this town that I always forget the name of that they're at that was burned on the map. That's the whole goal, is they're trying to figure out how they can figure out how to power everything to keep everybody safe. So they realize that, well, they know a scribe. Justinia. I fucking love her. Justinia is the one who is transcribing these wonderful books for us. She's the very first line. Her name is mentioned the very first line of Fourth Wing. She's also transcribing Iron Flame, but she is a real one. She, even though she's not supposed to, she's always been Team Violet. She trusts Violet. And so she says she will help because they obviously don't have access to everything they need. And Justinia can grab all of these old books and tomes to give to them, sneak in and out to them so that they can start trying to piece together the information that they need. Now, all of that comes down to actually Riddick, which is the funniest thing in the whole world. And one of the challenges in the first book, they sneak into her mom's office and they end up stealing a map. But Riddick is looking at the bookshelf when they're doing that. And he comes across a text that says that there are secret vaults underneath the Scribe quadrant. Underneath this huge Scribe library, there are secret vaults where more hidden texts are. Violet doesn't believe him at first because she's like, no, I've trained.
When they broke into the office, was that when they found all those like knives too?
Yes, where she learned that her mom had the knife, but she didn't know what it was. She just thought it was like a really
was it just
cool
one?
dragger.
Was it like a
Yes.
Okay, like a letter opener or something?
Yeah, she thought it was a letter opener, but it was her mom carrying around to protect her from Venom. So, all thanks to Riddick, honestly. He's the comedic relief, but he's important. Like, he's literally the whole reason that they get here. And so they learn that there are secret vaults underneath the library of the scribes. And with that, they learn, though, that you have to be a royal to break into these vaults, but lucky for them, there is a royal there. One of the royal children decided to sneak in as a first year. He told the king that he was going on a 20th birthday world tour. He actually crossed the parapet and became a cadet. So, but he knows Violet because what everyone thinks to believe is that she dated his brother, his other brother, Halden. There's these random little passages where she talks about previous things and that he was a royal and that she wasn't good enough. And a lot of fan theories are that this ex-boyfriend is going to show up in Onyx Storm. I'd be here for it. I love a little tension and love triangles. Not that
I do not want a love triangle at
she
all.
loves Xaden. I don't think it'd be a love triangle, but I think that a jealous Xaden I could get behind. But anyway, they get him. They go down. They find the oldest text that's ever been because they're trying to learn about these magical wards. They barely escape. It's fair. The intenseness that comes with with these like action and fighting scenes is wrote so well. And I don't know if you guys have done them on audio, but that's how I do them. I'm sweating. I know what the fuck is happening. And I'm like, oh my God, they're not going to make it out. Like the acting is so good, the voice acting, that I don't know. And that scene is very like a Tomb Raider, like mommy-esque, like you better run because the door's shutting and then we're all fucked. And I'm just like, oh my God, we're not going to make it. They all make it. They get the information that they're needing to try to start piecing more things together. So they do all that. That's like literally chapter 30. Okay. Then chapter 32, you get like Truth Slayer heading. And then it all leads to chapter 35, which is the worst fucking chapter I've ever read in my whole life. Holy shit. When Violet gets taken and actually starts being tortured because she gets caught, and I'm pissed at how she gets caught. I know it's not her fault, but like, I'm just pissed that it's Nolan, the healer that's healed her whole life, that betrays her. And it's also such a weird slip up for her. Like
this is the one that I truly feel is a full-on betrayal.
Xaden was like, oh, he'll be dealt with, and Tran's like, he's dead, as he should. Like, as he should be. I don't care if he's one of the best healers that's ever existed. I don't care if he's healed her whole fucking life. Like, that is straight up betrayal. Not only because we've seen him the whole time in Fourth Wing, book 1, like heal her and fix her. It really sets the precedent of he is on her team. Like no matter what.
Like he's like a second father figure to her.
Yes. Like
someone that is truly in her corner and wants her to succeed and be the best.
And because of the tiniest little slip up of her carrying a white bag that the scribes carry instead of a black bag that the riders carry, he picks up on it, hands her a tonic that she thinks is water. But when he hands it to her, that's the only one I couldn't like be mad at her for, is because why wouldn't he help her? Like he's always helped her. She had literally not one reason, but she gets drugged, gets taken. You learn that Nolan is working with the fucking enemy, this new guy that's in town at the school, and they torture her, like actually straight up torture her and then mend her and torture her. Why are they always torturing my girls? And it just hurt. It comes down to Violet is not caving. It has been 5 days of her being tortured. People think that she's off riding to see Xaden. Xaden doesn't know because he's not there. So like no one really knows to be looking for her until the end, but she's not caving. And so they bring Dane Atos in, and he plays it up really well. I don't know, honestly, I don't know if at first when he walks into the room, if he's actually angry and those are his real feelings and he doesn't change until she shows him everything. But part of this time when she's being tortured is she is seeing Liam, like as in
ripping the heart out.
Dead best friend Liam. He is there with her, whether her mind conjured him up, whether it really was a gift from Malik, but Liam is there. And Liam says, don't keep him out. Show him what you want him to see. And that, I think, was a big moment for her and for me, like when reading it, because no one has told her that yet. Everyone's saying, keep your shield up, keep your shield up, keep everyone out. But instead, she let him in and showed him exactly what his actions have done, how his actions
have consequences, and here they are. Enjoy them.
And I don't know, like I said, if that was really Liam, if that was just like her brain being smart in other ways, but that changed the whole game because Dane plays it up so well that he's like, she's a betrayer, like she did this. And then he turns around and stabs the guy and kills everyone. She realizes that he is now on her team. I mean, it's low key. She's not sure, but she does tell Xaden, who happens to just be outside the door, because they were all coming to finally break her out, that, you know, Dane might have some redeeming qualities. This is the start of his little character arc. I didn't fucking like him. I think I still don't fucking like him.
I still don't like him.
This is how I feel about
but
Kale.
I do
See?
love a redemption arc.
Yeah, I'm like, because if you love Kale, you're probably going to end up loving him. And I'm just like, God damn it, I don't like him. He pissed me off too many times. But I'll give him saving her. I give him that. We also, when she's getting rescued, her mom is there, Lilith. And she starts giving some more information. We start learning that her mom, yes, hid information from them, but she does drop some pretty hard lines in that hallway, as in, once you're a mother, you can talk to me about what you would do to protect your children. Mm-hmm. That one hits hard because then Violet comes back at her like, but what about their children? And she literally says, like I said, when you have children, you will know what it's like to do anything to protect your children. And I feel that's the moment I started feeling for Mama Sorengale. It's because I was like, you know what? I would probably also commend other children if it meant that.
Her a change in with Mama Sorengale.
Because if it came down to me saving my kids, you best believe that I'm going to do everything I can to save my children. But she does start opening up more. She starts opening up more to Xaden. That's when the bridge starts gapping and Xaden finally tells her, yes, your mom put the 107 scars on my back. It was a deal that I made with her. I owe her a favor back. You learn that the favor was no matter what happens, you have to protect Violet when not in the sparring ring on the first year, which I know cut deep for Violet because she just thinks that everyone actually isn't on her side. She's just like a bargaining chip and a problem. But once again, I feel for Lilith because she was going to do anything in her fucking power to make sure that her child stayed alive. And I give her all the power for that. This is also around the time where Andarna is in a very, very deep sleep and she's never waking up and everyone's getting really freaked out. Then when she does wake up, Violet sees her for the first time. She's 100 times bigger, like literally 1,000,000 times bigger than she was. She's also changed colors. She's black now instead of gold. And that's where we learn a very quick tidbit of information where Tyrn says that she will never bear a rider. And I think a lot of people overlook that and move on. Yes, she's still technically now a teenager, but that always stuck out to me each time I read it, is that, because that's a dragon's whole purpose, is to have a rider and a bond. And I feel like everyone moved on really quickly from that.
Because didn't something happen to her wing or something?
Her wing is fucked up because when she was supposed to be sleeping more when she was in adolescence, and instead she was at the fucking Threshing and like, I'm just gonna go find a rider, even though I'm like, she's like 7 years old, like in dragon years. And she's like, I think I'm gonna bond a rider. So now she's slept and she's 16. So she's a fucking snarky ass, sassy teenager. Hilarious. Yes. She has the funniest one-liners.
It is so good.
And
especially between her and Tyrn. Like,
yes, because that's her, like her
gold.
That's her dad, quote unquote. I mean, Sigale and him do not have any children together, but they are raising her. And she is snarky with him. Like at one point she's like, can you carry a whatever? And he's like, that is insulting. And she's like, can you carry a whatever while being insulted? A teenager, I don't know what is. Like, she's just, she's so sassy. Like, she is a full teenager. Like, every time Violet even tries to say something.
She's hormonal, it's fine.
She's like, I think that that's insulting. She's like, you're being ridiculous. I am not tired. Like, all of these things. Girl, you're a hot fucking mess. But the new problem is she cannot control time anymore, which has saved Violet's life twice. And she cannot breathe fire. On top of like her not being able to bear a rider. She has not figured out how to breathe fire yet, but because she's such a stubborn fucking teenager, she wants to go everywhere that they're going, but that puts her way in harm's way because she's just can't figure out how to protect herself.
Am I living in La La Land when you say that she will never carry a rider, that in my brain she will eventually one day carry Violet?
I think without a doubt she will end up carrying a rider, but I feel like everyone moved on from that. Like, I know that she probably will, but like I felt like it was a big emphasis, like they ended the chapter on like Tyrn being like, put your walls up to keep Andarna out, and then he tells her like she will never be able to carry a rider. And like I feel like that's such a big bomb drop for everyone.
But I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either, but then what if it is true and it comes down to her needing to be able to ride and she can't? Like what if she then like self-sacrifices? You know what I mean? That's
what if it's the thing that saves the day, is that she does what nobody thinks she can do?
I just want everyone to have the information.
I'm going to live with that in my head until it's otherwise said.
They fly back to the I can literally never remember their Xaden's homeland.
I have no clue what that town is.
They go back there. Mira comes in. That's where she learns Britain is alive. She doesn't give two fucks if he's alive. She punches him straight up in the face, breaks his nose. It's hilarious. then it's like funny and ironic because then like they're fighting and Violet's the youngest and she like has to break them up and like be in the middle and like she's giving Mira orders, she's giving Brennan orders, and they're both staring at her like, who the fuck is this little lady? Like, who's this little lady that's like finally...
Where's our sister? What's
exactly.
going on?
And Violet says like, I changed in 6 years, like you don't know me. And I'm just like, ooh, that's a bar. Because like...
That cuts deep.
And it's hard because I see it from both sides. Like Mira's angry because she had to step up to the plate. She had to become a mother to Violet because their mom checked out when he died. Then their dad died and it was literally just Mira and Violet. Like Mira says right to Brennan, I don't have a brother. Like it's just been me and Violet for the past 6 years. And that it cuts deep because I understand where they're coming from because they did need him, but he thought that his actions would be better in this rebellion because technically his mother did leave him out there to die with all of this backstory war information. I see both sides, but I understand why they're so pissed
Brittany
off.
Is like that person that was like, okay, yep, I see what you're saying over there. Oh,
And I
see
do.
what you're saying over
I
there.
fully see it. I do fully see it, especially because he's been such a big part in this rebellion because he's like the best healer that's ever existed now. So the fact that they have him and his information, honestly, think I've kind of missed it every time I've re-listened to it, but it comes into play that these Griffin writers, they need to be on their team. Like when they're in this little world of Xaden's homeland that he's technically the ruler of. And that's where I love that they like, he's always like, I'm not a king, but like, this is my house. Like I will do whatever the fuck I want. But they come to the conclusion that they need everyone. They need the Griffins and they're like cadets. They have a different name, but I can't remember because they conduct ruins, which is like they carve different symbols onto rock and different things. And that helps with different powers, all this other stuff. So they need that information from them. And then the Dragon Riders, cadets, they teach them how to fight and all these things. And that's where you meet Cat.
That bitch. She's on the list, people. She is on the fucking list.
And the thing is, she is on the list, even though people are going to be like, what? She redeemed herself.
Bitch, please.
I mean, she low-key kind of did, because she did save Violet, but she's just such a bitch. Her signet or her power is that she can intensify...
She's a mean girl. She is a mean girl.
She can intensify emotions. And she plays that up because she is the princess and her and Xaden were betrothed. And this is where I'm mad at Xaden because he never gave any backstory at all, even though the words come out of his mouth. I called off the betrothal to her, but I knew she would use you to like fuck with me, but yet I never warned you. Bitch, Xaden, no. Like, literally no. So she does. She gets in Violet's head. She makes all of her emotions come forward because they get to spar one class. And she's just a mean girl. She's such a fucking bitch. No matter what Violet does, it's always wrong for her. Like, she saved one of the Griffin Riders and not the other. And Kat's like, you did that on purpose because the other one was my friend. And she's like, what the fuck do you want from me? Like, she's just...
You are batshit crazy.
Yes. I will give it to Xaden that I love that he, like, picks Violet up after they're fighting and, like, carries her away. And then they have a really great spicy scene, like, with the my house, my chair, my woman. But it's not even that line. It's everything else around it for me that I'm just like, you guys are missing all of it. Like, I love that he lets her into his thoughts for the first time ever. And he's going like crazy hormonal boy. I need to do this and I need to touch her and I need to do this. And if I'm going to come in my pants and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like that's what I eat up is I'm just like, this boy is like a middle school horny little boy. And I love that he doesn't have sex with her because he wants her to say, I love you and to accept him again, but she said that she can't separate her feelings just from sex. And so I really appreciate him, though, even in all of his stupidity, that he never crosses that line. Like, he makes her say the words, like, I want you, I love you, like, I accept you again, before they have sex again. And I really appreciate that. I know some people were mad about it, but that's a good man right there. Like, he keeps pressuring her. I mean, he's got fingers and he's got a tongue, but he's like, I'm not
Thanks
We're
for
not-
that trick, you fucking bitch.
We're not going there. And that is a great line. After they have this big, like, horn fest, and he's eating her out and everything and using his fingers and everything else under the sun, she's finally, like, back in her own head. He tells her what Kat's power is, that she intensifies emotions. He says that he's carved runes on her daggers to prepare for this moment, which the daggers are handed to her in like halfway through book 1, which is why I'm pissed. Like, he had all the time in the world to prep her, and he did not. But she wasn't carrying those daggers that day, which is why, like, she got in her head and everything. When she finally calms the fuck down, Kat's still pissed off. Violet is carrying the daggers with ruins on them so that she can't get in her head. And Kat won't leave it alone. That's the thing. Because Violet was ready to be like, I'm the bigger person now.
Yeah,
I understand. We're going to move
Like,
on.
it
And
is
then
what it
she's
is.
like, I just, whatever. And she turns around and goes, thanks for that trick. His fingers are good.
Slay, girl.
Girl, I wouldn't know what to do if a girl told me that. I would be like, what? Like, you just burned me in front of all my friends and my teacher. Like, excuse me, what?
Should have quit while you were ahead, girlfriend.
Yes. So it all comes down to the end of Iron Flame, to wrap it up before some of our theories, that they need to power this like giant stone, but it would take weeks and weeks and weeks to put enough power in it. Violet decides that she is going to burn out putting all of her power in it, because she has started to learn that she is a pure form of power. And I think that is why the villain want her, is because they want to charge up from her, is what I've started to try to kind of piece together. Her mom, oh God, I can't handle it. I feel like in ways it was worse than Liam, because you thought she was just a terrible mom, and then you realize she's done everything her whole life to protect her children. I know we skipped over a bunch of stuff, but I'm just trying to give the main points. But Sloane is Liam's little sister. Violet's been protecting her the whole time because that was Liam's dying wish, and Violet has been. They learn that during this like last fight battle where Kat had just saved Violet and Sloane from dragon, like they had just been saved. They learn that Sloane is a siphoner. She can siphon people's magic and drain them and then project it into someone else or herself. So Lilith comes into play and she starts to piss Sloane off on purpose. I'm gonna cry talking about it. This shit hurts my heart, I think, more than Liam. And she says, like, you know, your brother, like, I sentenced him to be marked and all of it played out. Like, I killed your dad and your mom. And Sloane doesn't want to do it. She keeps asking Violet while Brennan and everyone is holding her back, like, Violet, like, should I do it? And finally, they just realize that they don't have a choice, and she siphons all of Lilith's magic and power, which kills her, and they put it into the giant rock. They also learned that Andarna is not like any other dragon.
Nope.
She is the 7th kind of dragon that they thought was extinct, and that her flame is the iron flame that lights the rock to make this magical ward go up. So all of it happens really quickly. It honestly is a rather quick ending to all of that, and it fucking hurts. It really hurts because, I mean, we're both moms, and
both moms.
I know that if it was us, we would have done anything to protect our children, but holy shit, reading that also while pregnant, pain. And after she dies, the next header to the chapter is a recovered letter in her journal that she had wrote to her love of her life. And it said, you know, my love, that I will never go out in any other way, but if I die, it's because I saved our children.
Ugh.
Excuse me, Rebecca Yaros. I'm fucking billing you my next 100 therapy sessions, because that is some fucking pain. We're going through all
pause. I really did.
I didn't think I was
not expecting to
like,
be that emotional about it.
Me neither. And I think it's just, I don't know. You just can't help but like think of your own mom, think of your own children.
Think of your relationship with your own mother, the relationship you have with your own children and are forming, and what
and then
you would
you
and
just,
wouldn't do.
You
And
really go back to think like about everything she did but like I respect her like through it all. Like when I was rereading Fourth
So then I
Wing,
felt bad that I called her see you next
yes,
Tuesday. And I was just
like I'm still mad at her in the very beginning chapters because she's just so harsh on Violet and not giving her any.
Couldn't we have done this just a little bit differently?
Yes, like you could have just prepped her a little bit, but then when you realize that it's because she knew she had to be a writer to survive and to live,
and so that she could keep tabs on her,
exactly,
and be able to know how she's doing and faring, because it would look weird if she was checking up on a scribe all the time.
Exactly, like it all made sense, and I honestly, it breaks my heart because there is nothing like a mother's love, and that is some fucking pain. Like that is just straight up pain. She also said that she knew that Violet needed to be there because I think she knew that she needed to put all the pieces together, because I think that it will maybe uncover more once we start learning about like who her dad and stuff is, why he was murdered, and like what exactly the information he had found. And I just feel like Lilith knew that she needed to have the skills of a writer but the mind of a scribe to like be the best of the best. That shit is painful.
It is.
Then to immediately go from that to Xaden, like everyone's saying that she needs to go to Xaden. So Taryn comes and like picks her up from there, takes her to Xaden, and Xaden is looking at the stream, or his back is to her, and he is just saying like, I killed the sage, but I keep looking at the river because I'm afraid his body's gonna come up, even though like he's 20 miles down the river already. And she's like trying to talk to him and comfort him, even though like she can clearly tell that something's off. And he has his shields up, like his guard is up from her. And he says like, tell me you love me. And she says, you know that I love you. And he says, well, tell me again anyway. And she says, I love you. And then he turns around and he has red rimmed eyes, just like the fucking Venom. And that is how the book ends, except for his little bonus chapter at the end, which is where he goes and talks to Jack Barlow and asks for a cure. He says that he will let him go and do anything Jack wants as long as he gives him a cure. And Jack Barlow reveals the information that he has been a Venom for a long time, like literally since he got back to life. He's been a Venom, and he says there is no cure because this is not a disease, it is power. And that is the end of Iron Flame. A lot of information, a lot of shit. I am pissed at Xaden, but I also don't like this hurt and painful path that I feel like he's about to go on. In Onyx Storm, I have a lot of feelings. I feel like in ways I
feel like I was one of the weirder readers. Like I didn't have a problem with him, and I didn't also have a problem with Violet. Like a lot of people thought she was annoying, and I was like, no.
I did not think she was annoying. I thought she was 20.
I wasn't mad at him, so I was just like...
There are definitely times where I think that he could have helped her out, like, more. Like, if he would have just told her a couple things and then been like, let's get your shields up. Like, I do think a lot of the back and forth could have been avoided. But I know we have to have a story. So that's also where it's like, I get it. Like, we got to have a story. I feel like I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of things of where it could go, what could happen. So as we're rounding up, I will rapid fire them at us. But I feel like those that will understand, like, I feel like we could 100% have like a Edward Cullen Noon Moon situation where he's the problem, so he leaves. I could see Xaden saying like, I have to leave and be away from you to protect you, which I think that would honestly really hurt me. I think that it would really cut deep. Like, I just have a bunch of random questions. Like, when we find out that Brennan is alive, Sigale doesn't trust Brennan. Xaden's dragon doesn't trust Brennan and tries to kill him immediately upon seeing him. Why? What does she know?
I never.
Why doesn't she trust him? I think, and does it have to do with the weird, odd-shaped rune scar that he has on his hand? Why does he have that scar? What the fuck happened? I've seen a lot of people saying that they wonder if he is part Venom already. I've seen a lot of people say that he's going to be a betrayer in the end, and all of this is for power on his end. I don't know about all that, but I do trust Sigale more than I trust Brennan. And she fucking hates him. Just like I trust Liam. And Liam said that Kat was the enemy. Because that's how Violet knew about Kat, is Liam had brought it up in passing. Like, he's like falling in love with you. He never even trusted like Katarona, which is her full name, like that. And I'm just like, okay, like all of you want to forgive her, but like Liam didn't trust her, so I don't trust her because I trust Liam.
She stayed on the list.
A big one that we said is like, what is Violet's dad's name? Like, I feel like people that are unnamed are important. Why is he unnamed? Part of me wonders if he's not dead. Is he the main sage of the Venin? Is he?
I thought I've seen a lot of people thinking that he was Venin, and then that's like Violet is part Venin.
Yes, because why does she have part silver hair?
Yeah.
Why is she so fragile and weak? Like her mom said, like that fever almost killed you. But why did it almost kill her? What do they know more of that we do not? And that Violet clearly doesn't know. I feel like the ruins that they were learning how to do are going to be a way bigger play in Onyx Storm. Yes, we learned that they are important for different things and like to break the wards and different locks, but I feel like they're going to come way more into play. And I wonder if that's where we'll see more of Kat, is because she's the best ruin carver like of these Griffin riders and warriors. So I wonder if she'll keep popping back up. Well, obviously, what is Violet's second signet? Is she a true slayer? Is she just something completely off that we just never even thought about and we all overlooked? Like, I literally don't know. I also really noticed that, like, why does Violet's hair match the cover of Onyx Storm? Her hair goes from dark to silver. The cover is dark to silver, you know, and the only reason we get Onyx and Fourth Wing and an Iron Flame is because that's the color of Xaden's eyes. Are onyx, and that's the color of their bond and their mind. It shimmers onyx. So I'm like, okay, I'm stressed. And then I wonder if that sage leader isn't Violet's dad. Is it trans previous rider Naolan, the one that burnt out, quote unquote, to save Brennan? Like, I wonder if he's still alive in that play, because I feel like no one fucking dies. Everyone's alive except fucking Liam.
I feel like Tern would know that
but every time it gets brought up, he says, we will not discuss my previous rider. Completely shut down.
Yeah.
And we have learned that Tern and Andarna kept her in the dark and also betrayed her. Like, that's where I think people are way too harsh on her in Iron Flame. Everyone betrayed her, even the most sacred bond between rider and dragon. They betrayed her. So I'm just like, what does he know that they're saying is too high of like authority for her? You know, I think it's the Andarna obviously is going to be a huge play because we found out that she is the seventh kind of dragon. And she says that so we know that 600 years ago, there was this huge epic battle, and that is why the seventh kind of dragon is gone. But Andarna says she's been waiting 650 years to hatch. So I just am like, what is all of that? Like, I just want the full information of her. I don't want to wait a whole other book after Onyx Storm. Like, I would like some more information on her. And I'm kind of hoping that she'll accidentally let things slip because she's a teenager.
Yeah.
And I know that might be wrong, but I'm really hoping. Let's see. Then, so Jack Barlow says that, like, he's been a Venin for a long time, that there's been more at play. And I wonder if Venins are amongst them, but I wonder if they're scribes, because he says that they have been there for a long time, that like this is way bigger at play. So I wonder, like, and also infantry at the top of like where they burn everything, like they tried to kill her, which is when Jack Barlow saves her in Iron Flame. A random little tidbit that I thought was weird, but like I just wonder like how many actually are amongst them that are already in this pre-Venin stage. Because, like,
would their eyes not be the red then?
That's what I'm wondering. But Violet overlooked Jax the whole time. She just thought that he was tired, that he was still recovering from death. I just wonder, like, how much are they not paying attention to? Especially because they're not around everyone all the time.
Right.
Ugh, I'm stressed out. In a good way.
It's going to be so good, though. This is one of those books, though, that, like, my sister-in-law has read it. Friends that I have in real life have read it and are excited about it. So it's just one of those big phenomenon things that
yes,
like, not just in this bookstagram,
but like this has taken over the real world.
The real world, yeah.
My mom and I were like chatting about all of it because she's doing her reread and she's like, I forgot about all of that. I'm like, I know. I also want to know what's going on with Xaden's mom. Who is his mom? Because the only information we get is that she's supposedly dead and he has a blanket in his closet because in Iron Flame it comes up. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
who is she? She's also unnamed. Is she in this weird, like, Kingdom
I
of
feel like I was
Isles?
trying to follow along with someone's theory video and it made no sense to me. I should have sent it to you. But talking about like Xaden's dad or and great uncle and people like his lineage, and I was like, you guys have lost me.
So
I have no fucking clue what you're talking
Xaden's
about.
dad was a king. He was the king of their little town that I never can remember. If they put so much emphasis on his mom, you would have to think that his mom would be a princess from somewhere
Yeah.
else. And
to have like an arranged marriage.
to have an arranged marriage.
For power and...
Exactly. So like, who is she? Is she alive? And in this random Kingdom of Isles that they say the seventh kind of dragon is on, and where Andarna came from? Or is she like a Venin? I just want to, like, there has to be more at play with her, because that's exactly it. Xaden said, my parents were in an arranged marriage. Well, your dad was a king, because you're a prince, and now the king technically. And they're not just going to do that to anybody. That's literally why you were betrothed to Kat. It's because she's a princess. So who the fuck is your mom? I want to know if Andarna's going to get a mate. Mm-hmm. And that's where maybe this quote unquote supposed love triangle is going to come from. And I know people don't want it, but like, I am intrigued because there has to be more at play with her. I feel like there's clearly she's going to be the biggest and the best. She's like already half like the size of Tyrn, and she's a teenager. Hello. She's going to be fucking huge. Mm-hmm. The general's dragon is afraid of her, but he knows that she's needed. And I kind of want her to have a mate, but then like, what does that mean for everybody? Also, Rebecca Yarros put like
but then you're just having so many more connections to
I
people.
know, but like Rebecca Yarros put like a picture of 3 conch shells up, and she could just be fucking with all of us. But she was like, isn't 3 better than 2? And I'm like, does that mean like Andarna's about to get a mate of a dragon and we're about to have like a new player enter the game? I'd be here for it. I'm
still going to read it, but I would not be happy.
Yeah. I also wonder if they keep Violet's dad's name a secret because Lilith Sorrengail was always Lilith Sorrengail. She did not take her husband's name. He took her name. Why? And part of me wonders...
I never knew that. Mm-hmm. That's new info for me
Part
today.
of me wonders if it's because his name is trying to be erased, and the only people who's being erased is the first 6, which is where they were searching for that book about the first 6 and them building the wards and everything and where the power comes from. Part of me is like...
Well, and who better than a scribe to erase your own history?
Exactly. But like, that means Violet would be a descendant of the first 6, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
And I want to know what that means, because they kept bringing up an Iron Flame. Like, a big part of it was like, we got to find these journals about the first 6, but you're not going to pull one over on me, Rebecca, and tell me that those first 6 don't matter anymore because you guys got a magical world up. I feel like there's way more at play. I feel like Onyx Storm's going to be like the most information we've ever consumed, and all we're doing is consuming. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I also was like wondering when I was reading Iron Flame the first time, like, I wonder what kind of like fighting and drama there'll be. So like, clearly there's going to be that, but like, my brain is totally out of blank. Like, I am not fully comprehending exactly where Rebecca wants to go, which is exciting. It is, but I'm also like, it stresses me out. You know me. I'm like, what do you mean? But Tuesday is tomorrow.
I'm just along for the ride always.
You and Eva are like, I don't have any thoughts going on. I'm like, and I'm just out. Like, literally, I was trying to ask Literary Botanical something, and she's like, sent me a gift back. She's like, no, one thought in my brain. I'm like, you are not helping me out at all, girl. Trying to read through some of other people's things that I saw that they thought were good. A lot of people wanted to know more about Brennan and Naolan. Why did he do that when he knows that no one can be brought to life with magic, but clearly he also wasn't dead? So like, what actually happened there? Because we heard the story that Naolan was saving Brennan because they were best friends, but I think they were lovers. Mm-hmm. But like, if Brennan was actually never dead, then what actually fucking happened? That's why I don't trust Brennan. Like, why is he hiding all this information? You don't get to hide anything after you've been dead for 6 years. Like, I feel like you should be the first one being interrogated.
And if Sigale has info on Brennan, then Tyrn has the info on Brennan.
But then Sigale didn't tell Tyrn, though, that he was alive. That's what I caught up, is that he didn't know. He was hiding other things from her, but he didn't know fully. So then I'm like, that goes against like all dragon ethics though, because they're mates hiding shit from each other. Mm-hmm. Obviously Andarna. Everyone was like, Andarna. A lot of play at what Violet's second signet would be. A lot of people saying that her full potential of her first signet of lightning is way more than just that, because she doesn't know how to control it or wield it properly every time, that maybe there could be more at play with that.
I do feel that, yes, because like I guess I'm going off of the title in Storm, and for a storm there's more than just lightning when a storm is going on.
And isn't it interesting that she's a lightning wielder and her mom can control like the weather. I think that that's very interesting.
Which, going back to book one.
In the Parapet when it was raining,
yes, why is it raining?
Because if you can control the weather. Yeah. I know, and that's where I'm like, I do love her in the end, but there are so many things in those first 3 chapters that I'm like, why did a storm roll in? Is it like, is she just trying to make Violet prove to herself that she can do it? But like, that would stress me out as a parent. I would have made it sunny.
Yeah.
I would have made it sunny.
Parapet was,
and
enough of a challenge without having the weather at play. That's all I'm saying.
I have seen a lot of people say that Violet's second signet is precognition, which that's interesting to me. Like, she knows things ahead of time, but that feels like it plays off of the intrinsic. And then I'm worried for her fucking safety. But also random, just going through things. Okay, something that I feel no one talks about that I've brought up to you and Lynn multiple times is when Imogen is a bitch in book 1 and she's not our friend yet. She gets Violet on the mat, right? And they're fighting, and Dane Atos is screaming, "No powers in here, Imogen." Pause. You might be thinking, okay, there's nothing weird about that. Until you fast forward 10 chapters, whatever, and Imogen says that her signet is mind erasing. Why would you be mind erasing on a challenge pad? Why is everyone having second signets? Is it all marked ones have second signets? I feel like not enough people are talking about Imogen, because that's the biggest thing. And I listened to it when I was doing this time and really listened to it. And Dane says, no powers or no signets in here, Imogen. But then she says to Violet, my signet is mind erasing. You have more than...
How would Dane have known what she was doing?
Exactly. He wasn't touching her.
Right.
Which is why I think that he can read minds at any time. Like, everyone's a fucking liar. Like, it stresses me out because everyone's lying and hiding things.
Everyone's lying. Everyone's keeping their secrets.
And I know they're like, oh, we have to protect ourselves. But that one really sticks out to me and really puts on emphasis that they probably do all have second signets if you're marked. Because why would she want to erase her mind? She doesn't know shit anyway on that fucking challenge mat. A lot of people are also saying that General Melgren is a villain, that he is so evil and all this power that he could be a villain already. People are saying that Naolan is still alive. One I did see, though, is people are saying that Imogen is a double agent. Like, she doesn't know which side to be on. Like, this is seeing the future. Like, they're saying that no matter what happens with Xaden, that she will be on his team and be playing both sides. Don't make me hate you again, Imogen. We came a long way. Ugh. I don't know, folks. I know that was probably all over the place, but that's literally what these books do to my brains. I
say that is just our conversations anyway. So
this is a FaceTime call, and that's how I feel
to our chats
about all of it. All I know is no matter what happens, Rebecca Yarros in her interview said that Violet Sorrengail gets her happily ever after, and that is enough for me.
It is not enough for me.
Where I think other people are reading it for everyone else, I am in this for Violet. When people are like, who's your favorite? And they think I'm going to say, it's Violet. I am Violet. Violet is me. I would act probably 100 times worse than Violet at 20 years old after everyone betrayed me and my boyfriend lied to me and was telling me to ask the right question when he can just read my fucking minds. And then people always pull like he can just know intentions. You can't pull that shit on me, because in Iron Flame, he is telling Violet, like, your mom wants to go get dinner after this. She's hungry and blah, blah. That's more than intentions, bro. You are straight up reading people's minds, which means you knew the whole time that you could tell her shit. Like, I just need Violet to be okay. She's my homegirl.
I want her and Xaden to be okay.
I will take
And
them
together.
both. I will take that. But if we have to pick one, I'm kicking Xaden off the parapet. I will kick Xaden off the parapet. I will end his life fully if that means that my girl can be okay. I also, people are going to hate me for it, but if he's not the end all be all, I think I'd also be okay with that because I'm here for Violet. I think I will be sad and I'll cry and I'll be like,
I
who's
would
this?
not be here for that.
But I'm just thinking, like, what if a Rowan is about to come into play? You know, like, what if we're about to meet Rowan and I'm
No.
like, oh my God, I would love Rowan. I love Rowan. Rowan is everything. And so that's where my mind is open because, like, if a Rowan is about to come onto the page, I will also kick Xaden off the parapet.
No, not in my world.
We also for sure have another book after this. It's unlisted, untitled on Goodreads, and
Aren't there going to be 5 total?
I think there's
in
going to be
that
5
series?
total, but that also scares the shit out of me because that means we have a lot of information to do and go through. I will end you with this. You can do your own research about stalking Rebecca Yaros's page. She keeps putting characters to Taylor Swift songs, and it's very scary for Taylor Swift fans who know these songs. And then she's like, this sad ass song is for Riddick. No, it's not. Stop doing that. You're not allowed to do that. She also said in an interview, one of her latest interviews, that while we are all crying and hyperventilating at the last 100 pages of this book, she will be laughing maniacally.
Oh, God.
And that, folks, is where I'm going to leave us. You will not hear any Onyx Storm things from us. We are going to read it. I have a tradition of staying up all night and reading it. But if there's one thing Britt and I do is we wait a good long fucking while to do this. I think my Iron Flame edits are coming up this week, like as of Onyx Storm release dates. So just know that if you're looking for like spoilers or anything about Onyx Storm, it is going to be a long while from us because we want to give everyone the chance to read it. People's books aren't going to get here. People want to wait. They have other things they're doing. So.
Well, and to be honest, with the amount of alpha and beta chapters I have in my inbox right now, I'm not even sure when I'm going to have time to get to it. So
just know that there are other places, other podcasts that will probably be doing that. But just so everyone is aware on our end, we will not be discussing Onyx Storm for a long time. It would probably be like summer or after. We just want to give everyone the time to make sure they're reading it caught up. Honestly, I like to read these books twice, like very quickly, so I get information, but just so we're all on the same page. No spoilers or anything coming from us. We will maybe follow up like, oh, we read it, like in our little recap, and then we will move on. Just so no one is worried about that. I will also end you guys with, I know TikTok is supposedly going on hiatus. I don't know what the fuck's going on with it, but in case you were listening and you found us through there, I just wanted to let you guys know that we are on Instagram at the Smut Daddy Podcast. You can watch all of our videos on YouTube at the Smut Daddy Podcast. And then we are still here putting out episodes from here on out every Tuesday. This was just a very fun Fourth Wing Iron Flame little exclusive special episode.
Yes.
So I hope that you all enjoyed this, but more importantly, I hope you all enjoy Onyx Storm. You can slide into like my inbox, like personally at this Smut Daddy if you want to chat. But as far as like official podcast things go, and until Britt gives you guys that go ahead to slide into her inbox, that's the only thing that you guys are going to get from us. God, I hope you guys all enjoy Onyx Storm because I know I'm going to eat that shit up. When Britt wakes up for work in the morning, she'll text me and say, how are you doing? Or where are you at? That's kind of our routine. And I'm either going to be done with it or freaking the fuck out. I'm about to finish it. So.
And then that'll play a part in how the rest of my priorities go.
If I tell her, I don't pull rank very often on her, but if I tell her, like, do it, I know she will. So until next time, Fourth Wing, I'm your wing leader, and I hope that we all make it out alive.
I hope so,
Peace and
too.
blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Bye.
Bye guys.